This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Coming up this half hour on Sunrise, surveillance video shows the moments just before a driver hit and killed a pedestrian in southeast Portland. We'll have more on the investigation into the man behind the wheel of that truck coming up in 2 minutes.
The Federal Reserve increased interest rates by 0.75% yesterday to combat inflation. It's the biggest hike since 1994. How this is going to affect consumers.
Plus, Cirque du Soleil returning to Portland. We caught up with one of the performers debuting tonight in a brand new version of Alegria.
This is awesome. I've been like a professional circus artist for 15 years now. And it's the first time I worked with Cirque du Soleil, and it was a dream since I was a kid to work there, so I'm pretty happy.
He is a master of what's known as the German wheel. Coming up this morning, how he learned to do what he does and why this production is all in the family. Our conversation at 5:15.
And Sunrise photographer Eric Patterson, the master of what we call live video here on the Sunrise Show. So Eric is live this morning out there at really one of the most popular tourist destinations in the Pacific Northwest. We're talking about Multnomah Falls, of course. Beautiful shot this morning. It is just a minute after 5 o'clock. Rod Hill, any other time of the year, we wouldn't be able to see this at 5 o'clock. But this daylight has arrived at this portion of the day.
And I'm also thinking a good healthy supply of water there, it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of water in the area.
The Columbia, by the way, still at the 16-foot flood stage this morning, and that now is expected to continue into tomorrow morning. So that flood warning keeps getting extended. We'll talk more about that coming up. We've had a little bit of rain overnight. We do have showers on the radar moving north of Astoria and a few on the east side of I-5. But we're dry in Portland. We have cloudy skies up top to start your day, and it's mild outside. We're at 58 degrees, much warmer than it was 24 hours ago. Here's our bus stop weather. It is one of those days where a shower will be possible, but we don't expect much rain, so lots of dry time. We'll go 65 at noon and getting to the end of the school year now for almost all of the districts. 70 degrees the expected high for a second day in a row. Back to you.
All right, we'll see you soon, Bob. Thank you. We start in northeast Portland, where a car crashed right into the front of a building at Northeast Sandy and Halsey at about 12:40 this morning. That is known as the Wedge Head. It's a pinball arcade and bar, and it did quite a bit of damage there. No word on the condition of the driver or if they'll face any charges.
We also have an update this morning on a deadly hit and run that happened last week in southeast Portland near the Eastport Plaza Shopping Center on Southeast 82nd. Now we're about to show you new surveillance video that paints a clearer picture of what happened exactly. So just across the street from the Eastport Plaza is the Eastport Food Center. And from their surveillance cameras, you can see what happened. Top of your screen, we highlighted the red truck that pulls into the lot, turns around and then stops. Now someone goes past the truck on a bike. We slow it down here as you see someone else walking by, and we're stopping the video right there because at that point, the driver slams on the gas, hitting and killing that person. The driver of the truck then turns back around. He goes after the cyclist. That cyclist thankfully managed to avoid getting hurt. Meanwhile, the manager of the Eastport Food Center says he saw the entire thing unfold.
Scary. I mean, I've seen a lot of accidents happen out here. I've seen people getting hit by the crosswalk here, but nothing like that.
That was Michael Weeks. He also told us he jumped into his own car, chased the truck down, and the man driving the truck was eventually arrested a short time later at Lens Park. So the suspect is 40-year-old Frederick Moore. He appeared in court a few days after that crash. Court documents show that Moore told officers he ran over the pedestrian on purpose. He's now charged with second-degree murder. Police have not yet identified the person who was killed.
Well, the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates by 0.75 points yesterday. It is a historic and aggressive move to fight inflation. It's also the biggest increase in more than 30 years. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington, D.C. with the latest.
The Federal Reserve going big, raising interest rates by a historic 0.75%, the biggest hike since 1994.
We're strongly committed to bringing inflation back down, and we're moving expeditiously to do so.
The move will make payments more expensive on everything from mortgages and car loans to big business loans. Homebuyers in the market now remain cautious.
I feel pressured to buy now as opposed to waiting a few months because who knows what the prices are going to be then.
Be with everyone.
This as American families are already struggling with high food and fuel prices. President Biden slamming U.S. oil giants for record profits and putting pressure on them to do more.
He's calling for an increase in production, both of producing and extracting oil, but also refining it.
The oil industry says U.S. refiners today are running at or near capacity, but still demand is outpacing supply. Meanwhile, people are doing what they can to stay afloat, some even selling their plasma to make ends meet.
In order to make sure that there is enough food to go around and the lights are on and I've got gas in my gas tank.
Others reconsidering summer vacation plans due to higher prices for gas and flights.
It's making me not want to travel right now, for sure.
As more Americans feel the financial stress, the Biden administration says driving down costs remains a top priority. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Well, some Americans have watched their monthly bills double this year with rising gas prices, surging inflation, and soaring debt. It could be a while before Americans see relief. This morning, a financial expert weighs in on what you can do right now to help make ends meet.
So this is the time for you to focus on what you can control. Where can you cut expenses? One place to start, look at your subscriptions. One study says that about $133 a month that you're paying in subscriptions is money that you didn't even know you were doing. So don't do it. Cut that expense and then look at other places that you can save. Use that money to put in emergency savings, but more likely use that money to help pay for the higher costs of things that you use every day, whether that's food or putting gas in the tank.
You can see the rest of that interview on the Today Show coming up right after sunrise.
We want to get you to some breaking news that we've been following this morning in southeast Portland. This is a live shot right kind of near the Springwater corridor. It's in the Johnson Creek area, a few blocks west of Southeast 82nd and Luther Road. You see that huge smoke plume there in the background. Portland firefighters on the scene of a 2-alarm fire in that area that is in some sort of commercial building, also spreading to that brush there along the Springwater corridor. They have dozens of fire trucks and crews out there battling this morning. We've been listening to kind of some of their scanner traffic. They've been having some difficulty getting water to that scene. So we have Devin Haskins there giving us live pictures this morning. And we're going to try and kind of see around these trees as they battle that huge smoke plume you may be seeing early this morning out of that area. We'll give you updates as soon as we learn more. Now to a few other stories we're tracking this morning. We got an update from a local firefighter who had his van and gear stolen out in front of his apartment in southeast Portland a few weeks ago. He reached out to us last night to tell us police found his van, but his gear is gone. His name is Jason Starkey. He spent the better part of this year battling wildfires in Arizona and New Mexico. And when he got home, someone stole his van and everything inside. Portland police found it along with several other stolen vehicles near Southeast 92nd and Division. Starkey says the van was gutted, removing every identifiable sticker from inside and out. He says the van is drivable, but it's going to need some work. Oregon Housing and Community Services just approved $73 million in funding to help Oregon counties hit hardest by the wildfires. It'll build more than 600 homes with that money. Most of them will be rentals. Clackamas, Marion, Jackson, and Lincoln counties are set to receive a portion of those funds. Cottonwood Beach, it's in Washougal, and it's closed because of flooding. Clark County Public Works saying the Columbia has reached the steps of the park's south trailhead, making it unusable. They say there's a lot of downed trees throughout the park and ask people avoid this spot. A heads up, the National Weather Service extended the flood warning for the Columbia River until about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And those are some of your morning headlines.
All right, one more story to share here before we get to Ra's local forecast. This is an update on Yellowstone National Park, which is now under a state of emergency because of the severe flooding that we've been talking about here the last few days. We know about 100 people were actually airlifted after getting cut off by fast rising water, and another 10,000 people have been evacuated from that area. The entire park is now closed to visitors indefinitely. The northern part of the park is impacted the most, so officials say it is possible that other parts of the park could reopen a little bit sooner.
Nina mentioned extending that flood warning for the Columbia River.
Yeah.
I know you've got a few more details about that.
So, again, I want to point out the river's not going up any longer. It's just that it's been holding steady since earlier this week, and it keeps holding steady longer than what the Weather Service was expecting. So as Nina mentioned, the flood warning now up through 1 p.m. Friday afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather graphic here. And that puts the water still right at that 16-foot flood stage. Again, it hasn't budged much in days and days at this point. It's expected to be down about a foot below flood stage on Saturday. And the Willamette, in case you're wondering, I mean, all of our rivers are running high, right? The Willamette is finally now constantly starting to come down, but it's still holding this morning about 2 feet below the flood stage in downtown Portland. But again, that river is slowly coming down. All right, upper level low sitting offshore. You can see that spin of that low right there. Same system that produced the cloudiness we had from time to time yesterday, and the same system that will fuel a shower chance today, and then more likely rainy weather the next couple of days. So we've had a little bit of passing rain overnight. On the radar right now, the rain's mostly up in Washington and along the Cascades. There's a dab getting ready to head toward you folks in Sandy, it looks like. We'll take you in a little bit closer. Yeah, just outside of Sandy and just outside of Canby, we've got some showers, but most of the region, most of it between Portland, Vancouver, and Salem is dry. And at any given point today, we expect only a few showers on the radar. So lots of dry time today. And we already have some breaks in the cloud cover out there. 54 in Astoria, 56 Salem. Bend is in the mid-50s. We have cloudiness most areas to some degree. That's keeping temperatures quite a bit warmer than we've seen the last couple of mornings. Futurecast, the green dots represent a shower chance this morning at 9:30. Here we are this evening. Again, there's a shower chance, but not much rain. That changes tomorrow. Look at this. Tomorrow morning, 6:30, already getting a shot of rain. These would be explosive thunderstorms over the Cascades at 11 o'clock in the morning. And there is the chance that heavier showers will form with some rumbles of thunder here in the valley tomorrow. We think tomorrow is probably more wet than it is dry, and the same thing potentially on Saturday. You folks at the coast, same thing as the valley today. Just some spotty showers around. Your highs will be up to about 60 degrees. Not much wind out there, west 5 to 15. Here's the 7-day. 70 today, rain holding us down to the 60s the next couple of days. Early shower chance on Sunday. I still think Father's Day goes on to be partly cloudy and about 70 degrees, and then dry start next week. Some showers on Wednesday, and that is your 7-day forecast.
Rod's favorite day on the forecast all week long has been Father's Day.
Yes.
Let's talk about Father's Day for a moment, because we would love to hear your Dad's Day shout-outs. You can send shout-outs to the favorite dad in your life. You can also send us photos of that guy. 503-226-5088 is the text line to send us those words of love and those fantastic fatherly pictures. We're going to share as many as we can tomorrow on Friday, leading up to Father's Day on Sunday.
Plus, Cirque du Soleil's Alegria returns to Portland tonight, and I caught up with one of the acrobats. His specialty is the German wheel. He's absolutely amazing, and he was kind of born to do this. We'll talk about that and how Cirque is putting a new spin on one of its favorite productions. Our conversation is coming up next.